Hey, so you can use eclipses as a way to eclipse people, situations, patterns, things out of your life. And there's going to be a really, I feel like everybody else, a really powerful, no, but it will be a really powerful eclipse tomorrow. Eclipses are powerful, and it's going to be a total eclipse. Won't be visible in the Americas, but it will be visible in Europe, Asia, and Africa, I believe. So I'm in Eastern time. You can still use the magic of it. Even though we won't see it, it'll be during our daytime. So the eclipse is going to start at 11:28 Eastern time and last until 4:55 Eastern time. It's going to be total from 1:30 p.m. to 2:52 p.m. So if you want to use your magic, and so like I said, you can eclipse out patterns, you can eclipse situations, you can eclipse people out of your life, and you can do it all different ways. You can do like a candle cord cutting if you want to. You can write down your affirmations. You can go to nature, getting rid of stuff in your life, giving away clothes, jewelry, or objects that remind you of people or situations. All of these things, it does feel like it's a big releasing kind of an energy. Also because it is the moon on her own north node in Pisces. There is something about connecting to what you're very emotionally connected to. So it's like releasing those blocks that are preventing you from realizing your goals and your dreams, even if it means admitting it to yourself. And it can come up in all different kinds of things. I made some notes here because once I get talking, I forget some of the things I wanted to say. One thing, like, and I'll make another video about it, like, you can use divine cycles. Wait, I'm not used to going live, so wait, Lalala. Oh, thank you. I don't know that I want to co-host with anyone right now, but thank you for the offer. I get so easily distracted, but thank you for watching and thank you for inviting. In the future, I'm totally down. I'm just learning about these lives. But so, I'm going to make another video about one way to approach dealing with addiction and addictive behavior and whatever, using divine cycles, aligning ourselves to the movement of our luminaries, the sun and the moon, as well as other planets. So you can use eclipses. One example would be like, I'm eclipsing alcohol out of my life, and I'm going to go the full cycle until the next eclipse cycle. So you could go from one lunar eclipse until 6 months from now, the next lunar eclipse. You can, and if you ask again, maybe I will. I just want to get these notes out, and I'm not used to like going live with other people, so thank you. But I want to go live more often. I'm usually on Facebook, but I'm feeling like TikTok because I just want to get into the TikTok scene, community, whatever. So you can do that, like utilizing the cycles of the eclipses. Like I'm going to eclipse whatever it is. I try, being meat free for 6 months or whatever, whatever you want to do. But then I also made a note of like, watch when you eclipse certain things out of your life, because it can be a trickster energy. There are unknown variables. We are working with the energies of the moon, so there's a lot that's seen and unseen, things coming to light. So I'll use myself as an example. The last eclipse cycle, I did some magic to eclipse a lover out of my life, and I knew he wasn't good for me. And the next day, not only did he come back into my life, but he brought an offer that I couldn't refuse. I'm a singer, and he had a pretty good gig for me to do with him. But that meant that we had to agree to be in each other's lives for the next several months. And so I eclipsed him out of my life, and then he came right back with an offer, and it was just for me to, he's still not good for me. So watch that kind of energy. When you do magic to eclipse people out of your life or situations, often enough, as soon as you release that energy, it'll be hungry for your energy and it'll come right back. And so you got to be strong and mean what you say. It's like the universe testing you. I think there's probably more of a physics, scientific explanation that we just don't understand quite yet. Let me see, lunar, bringing unconscious to light. And so some of these things, if you're really working on your own healing energy, eclipsing out certain toxic patterns or whatever, for example, working with yourself, it's an opportunity to get to the root of like, why was this a pattern in the first place? Sometimes it's generational patterns that we're eclipsing out. Really good energy for that. And again, being in Pisces, don't be afraid to dream. And even if it's like, I have big dreams of having healthy relationships with people in my family and in my life. I laugh because it's like, that shouldn't be such a lofty goal. Like, wouldn't it be lovely if it was normal to have healthy relationships? But it's not always normal. So it is a beautiful thing. And especially, if you're passing it on to younger generations, I'm going to heal. I'm going to get to the root cause of my own self-worth issues, my own abandonment wounds. And then there's another thing that wants to come in. It's kind of been a theme of today. It came in when I was doing a reading for a 9-year-old girl today who was amazing. And the Six of Pentacles came out. And it was so, I love that energy. But, the traditional imagery in the Six of Pentacles, it shows a person that has to give wealth or whatever, giving to two beggars. And they're holding a scale. But the person is giving more to one beggar than they are to the other, and maybe not giving to the other at all. So a lot of things comes from that imagery. One, who do you identify with in that scenario? And ultimately, it's to align yourself with the energy of the one that has the stuff to give. Your energy, your time, your attention, your affection, your love, your focus, whatever. You are the one with the energy to give. So often we feel like we're the one not receiving anything at all. Although it's sometimes we find ourselves being the one and somebody shows up just in time and we're happy to receive. So wherever you find yourself in that scenario, but it's, and you may recognize yourself in all three. And none of it's good, bad, or otherwise. I think there's a great power to recognizing that, especially if you feel like the one that's not receiving it all. Maybe journal about it, maybe write about the self-worth issues. Really good time to unearth those things during a lunar eclipse, shining light into the dark, bringing reflection to that which, was hidden in the shadows. Really good time to do shadow work, that inner child healing. But then wanting to bring it up to being the person that has the wealth, the abundance to share with others, and seeing that, we don't know why they're choosing to give to this person and not to this person. But whatever the reasons are, they have their own reasons. So when you identify with that energy, when you have a lot to give and say you just have this really magnetic energy that people are drawn to, a lot of people will be drawn to that. But if there's someone that just feels very parasitic, you're not obligated to give your energy to that. When I do readings, I sing and I create a vortex, I create a spiral, and I sing to call in the guides and the beings that I want to work with, ancestors and whatever, Mother Earth. I sing to create a frequency fence. There's a lot of power in your voice. And I'm setting a frequency fence saying, I'm only going to work with energies that attune to this frequency and above. And so it's like when you turn on a light, it draws all the bugs. It's saying, I'm only going to work with the butterflies and the ladybugs. I don't want to give my energy to mosquitoes and ticks. And you don't have to either. So it's okay to be discerning. And there's nothing wrong with, if you only have so much to give, when you feel an affinity for whatever the energy is, a person or a situation, it's okay to give to that. And just because there may be some guilt energy attached to not giving it to this, if you don't want to, there's no obligation. You don't fucking have to. So then I've got like little different things that you could do as far as magic goes for this eclipse. You could do a spell jar. Spell jars are more about what you're calling in. But in eclipsing things out, you can be eclipsing, you know, if you do like a prosperity jar, you could be eclipsing out lack consciousness, poverty consciousness, and you're attuning yourself. I always want to say use salt. Salt in every spell jar. I love salt. Salt and basil are my two favorite ingredients. Probably cinnamon. Actually, I have a lot of favorite ingredients, but salt especially because it adds this level of protection. And when you're having a long-term energy sitting there, whether it's under your bed or on a shelf or in the window, you definitely want that to hold a lot of protection. Salt is crystals, you know. Cord cutting, I said that. And there's different ways to do cord cutting. You can take my athame. I used to have like actual knives, but I've given them all away. I love to give. But my bestie Desi made this for me, and this is my athame that I use in conjunction with my selenite wand. Give a little shout out to Instant Karma, which is where I do the majority of my readings. It's a one-stop hippie shop, and you can shop online as well as come on into the store in downtown Asheville. You can also write a cancel contract. So say you have a person or a situation in your life. It could be the type of thing of like, why does this keep happening to me? So it doesn't have to be the same person, but it can be the same type of thing that keeps happening. Or it could be a person that you just can't quite get rid of. Not only can you do a cord cutting, but you can do a cancel contract. So you can write out, first it's always good to like get clear, and with that South Node in Virgo, it doesn't hurt to be organized, right? And you know, write down yourself in the situation. I feel like saying write your name at the top. And then whatever, you can identify the contract if you want to. Get as organized as you want to. You can first identify and then make a contract out of it. And say, there appears to be a contract with such and such where such and such continues to happen. And then take a red marker or pen, but I like a big thick marker, crayon, whatever the fuck. Red is very important because we're getting into that root chakra. We're getting into you know, survival. We're getting into resources, that sort of thing. It just feels like red is a very good energy for canceling contracts, getting into the root of the problem. And draw a big circle with it and then draw a line through it. Fucking canceled. Or you can write in red in all capital letters, canceled. Cancel contract. You can do that. You can burn a red candle on the paper if you want to. Just, of course, you don't need me to tell you to be wise with candles and paper, but you know, I'm a mom. And or you can fold it up and put it on a plate and make a circle of salt and put the red candle in the middle, cancel that contract, or black. You know, I love Magick. You can draw little sigils on there. You can draw the circle with a line through it or a big X, canceled. Of course, you can petition your guides, petition your ancestors, gods, goddesses, angels, demons, whatever you like to work with. Mother Earth is always there for you. I always want to say there are 3 energies we can pretty much all agree on that we can work with. One, if you're working with the realm of spirit, then you can easily accept that there's a spiritual component to yourself. And, you know, I call that my higher self. That's what a lot of people call it. Call it whatever you want to. Your oversoul, overlighting being. I feel like they go into levels of vibration, but they're all energies of you. We can all agree that we're on this beautiful planet. So whether you're calling to the consciousness of Mother Earth, or you're calling to the life on the planet, the trees, the animals, whatever, however you relate to our beautiful planet, you can call to her for your help. And then we all have ancestors, every single one of us. So, and they really do want to help you. A few more things I want to say about working with guides and ancestors, whoever and whatever you're working with. And again, about setting like a frequency fence, really putting up boundaries on your energy. Remember that you are the sovereign being, and whether you're doing magic for yourself or you're doing magic on behalf for others, you are sovereign in who you are. You are the conductor of the energy. You are a very powerful being, and you get to decide and discern what energies you will and won't work with. And so very much stand in your power. So like I said, I sing, I set a vibrational frequency fence. I also utilize sacred smoke. I use sage and Palo Santo. I've got crystals, essential oils, you know, whatever you want to utilize, standing in your power. And so what your guides and ancestors especially will not feel like is shame, guilt, disempowerment, anything trying to control you, saying you're not allowed to do this, you're gonna be punished if you do this. That's a parasitic fucking bullshit entity. Now, unless you're in you know, trying to mess with somebody else's free will, then yeah, they'll come in and be like, you probably don't want to do this because this person that you so dislike, or that you like so much, you know, whatever kind of spell it is, you're creating a binding, an energetic binding that in the long run is going to bite you in the ass. I mean, fuck around and find out if you want to, but I would always say honor. If you want to be a sovereign being in your own energy, and why the hell wouldn't you want to be sovereign? Then it's very important that you honor the sovereignty of all others. But with that, your guides will never try to disempower you or manipulate you with fear, guilt, or shame. Something that comes in, whether they're calling themselves Jesus, the goddess, or grandma, they're not going to do that. What they will feel like is love, support, safety, freedom, empowerment. They want to see you thrive. They want to see you heal. They want to see you stand in your power and remember who the fuck you are. That's why they're showing up to help you. All right. I think I'm pretty complete with that. Thank you so much, those of y'all watching. Thank you for joining, and thank you for inviting me to be a guest. I just, I guess, I don't know how to do that. If somebody wants to explain to me more about going live on TikTok, I am such an amateur at this, but I so am willing to learn. I'm eager to learn, and I would love to go live with others in the future. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off now. Once again, my name is Fairlight. If you would like a personal reading from me, I do palm readings, tarot readings, and astrology. I also do energy healing and magic work on behalf of others. So there's a link in my bio. Feel free to check that out. All right. Peace and love. Until next time.